A single overheard sentence, nothing more than a few words caught on a hot mic, and suddenly, the quiet world of Hollywood's elite erupted into whispers, theories, and speculation. It happened during what should have been just another private rehearsal, a sound check meant for comfort, for warm-ups, for laughter behind closed doors. But in that moment, the air shifted. What was supposed to be private became public, and a storm was quietly brewing. At the center of it all, Tom Cruise, Nicole Kidman, and Keith Urban. 3 names, 3 lives, and one explosive intersection of past and present. The kind of moment that can ripple across careers, friendships, and marriages. All because of a single, overheard sentence. No one expected it. Not the crew, not the friends present, and certainly not Keith Urban himself. The stage lights were dim, the instruments quietly humming, and the world outside had no idea that a private tension was about to spill into the open. What was said? Why did it hit so hard? And how could a few words trigger a reaction that would be dissected by fans, amplified across social media, and speculated over for weeks to come? Stick with me, because by the end of this story, you're going to see Hollywood in a way few ever get to. Behind the glitz, behind the cameras, the past has a way of resurfacing, and when it does, it doesn't just whisper, it roars. It was supposed to be a quiet, almost invisible moment, a private sound check limited to just a handful of friends and crew, the kind of rehearsal where no one bothers with cameras, where laughter mixes with chords, and the world outside simply doesn't exist. Intimate, off the record, safe. But safety has a way of slipping through your fingers. Somewhere in the back of the room, a mic was left live, and what happened next was never meant to be heard beyond those walls. Keith Urban, pacing with his guitar in hand, snapped. His words cut through the quiet hum of instruments, short, sharp, and raw. "I'm not being compared to him again." It was brief, but devastating. A flash of emotion that immediately lit up the room, leaving a ripple of tension that no one could ignore. Those few seconds, captured by that hot mic, were enough to send the internet into a frenzy once the clip leaked. Fans replayed it endlessly, dissecting every pause, every snap of his voice. Speculation ignited like wildfire. But here's the thing. What made Keith's outburst so explosive wasn't just anger alone. It wasn't just frustration at a comparison that felt unfair. What triggered this moment went deeper. It wasn't public rivalry or media hype that set him off. It was betrayal. A private wound laid bare in front of the world, and the consequences would only begin to unfold. The tension didn't appear out of nowhere. Days before that fateful sound check, Nicole Kidman had been spotted leaving a studio meeting. Not just any studio, one subtly tied to Tom Cruise's old production circle. Nothing overt, nothing scandalous, at least on the surface. But Hollywood thrives on whispers. The paparazzi caught a glimpse and asked the question no one expected. "Do you still keep in touch with Tom?" Nicole's response was calm, controlled, almost cryptic. "You never know who'll pop up again." The internet, of course, didn't take that at face value. Fans dissected her words, scouring tone, timing, and body language. Every smile, every glance, every subtle hesitation was turned into fuel for speculation. Threads exploded on social media. Accounts dedicated hours to decoding meaning, and rumors began to take shape. It wasn't just curiosity, it was a spark. And that spark, in the hands of those watching every move of Nicole, Tom, and Keith, would quickly become a flame. Then came the rumor that lit the fuse. Rumors have a way of sneaking in quietly, only to explode later with full force. According to industry whispers, Nicole Kidman had a private call with Tom Cruise. Nothing public, nothing staged, just a professional discussion about a potential film project. On the surface, it was innocent. But the problem wasn't the call itself. It was how Keith Urban found out. Not from Nicole, not directly. He heard it secondhand, through the grapevine, a whispered mention from someone else. And for someone who prides himself on trusting connection in his personal life, that was enough to ignite something deeper than simple irritation. It wasn't jealousy that cut through him. It wasn't anger at Tom. It was the sting of being left out of the loop in his own life. The kind of betrayal that feels silent, but lands like a punch. Keith's words, captured unintentionally by that hot mic, revealed the rawness of the moment. I won't be blindsided in my own life. Short, sharp, and loaded with personal weight. It wasn't for show. It wasn't a PR stunt. It was a private reaction exposed to the world by accident. And yet, this wasn't just a fleeting outburst. It marked a fracture, a glimpse into tension that had been quietly building behind closed doors. But the leak didn't just expose a fight. It revealed a deeper fracture. The moment that private rehearsal clip leaked, it didn't just ripple through the internet, it exploded. Fans watched it again and again, dissecting every syllable, every pause, every subtle inflection in Keith Urban's voice. The once private expression of frustration was now public, and millions were trying to read between the lines. Suddenly, people noticed subtle shifts in Keith's recent performances. His sets seemed shorter, pauses lingered a little longer, and in fleeting moments, he appeared to hold back emotions he normally would have let flow. Social media became a magnifying glass. Deleted photos here, an unfollow there, every tiny gesture examined for hidden meaning. Debates flared. Some argued that Keith was justified, betrayed by a partner who hadn't been transparent. Others suggested he was overreacting, letting Hollywood drama seep into his personal life. Privacy versus transparency became the battleground, with fans lining up on both sides, weighing what's fair in a marriage lived partly in public view. But as heated as these online arguments became, the story was far from over. And then, out of nowhere, another name entered the chaos, adding a new layer of tension that would only make the fallout even more intense. Just when it seemed the drama couldn't deepen any further, another twist emerged. Maggie Bowe, a familiar name in Keith Urban's touring circle, was suddenly removed from his upcoming tour. No official statement, no explanation, just silence. Naturally, rumors ignited. Some suggested Maggie had been too close to the unfolding situation, perhaps knowing more than she should about the private dynamics between Keith, Nicole, and Tom. Others speculated she might have been inadvertently caught in the crossfire, a casualty of secrets and tensions that weren't her own. Fans and followers started connecting dots, analyzing past posts, past interactions, trying to determine whether Maggie's sudden absence was related to the private call, the leaked rehearsal clip, or something entirely different. Theories spread faster than confirmations, each more dramatic than the last. And yet, as all eyes turned to Maggie, one thing became clear. The tension wasn't just personal anymore. It had become a narrative, a story the public couldn't stop dissecting. If that wasn't messy enough, Tom's silence made it worse.
Amid all the tension, one figure remained eerily silent: Tom Cruise. No public comment, no statement, no engagement. According to sources close to him, he's fully focused on his projects, pushing forward as if the storm around him doesn't exist. Yet his name refuses to disappear from the headlines. Every mention of the rehearsal clip, every rumor about Nicole and Keith circles back to him. Even in his absence, his presence looms large, a shadow stretching across Hollywood's gossip landscape. This is more than just celebrity curiosity. It's a collision of worlds. Tom's global legacy, built over decades of iconic films and blockbuster fame, towers like a monument. And here stands Keith Urban, equally accomplished, equally beloved, but suddenly vulnerable. human, raw. The juxtaposition is impossible to ignore. Therapists and celebrity commentators have weighed in online, dissecting Keith's reaction. Many argue it's not dramatic, it's deeply human. Learning about a partner's private contact with a former spouse, especially one as legendary as Tom Cruise, can stir feelings of betrayal, insecurity, and fear of being sidelined. It's a perfectly natural emotional response, amplified by the glare of public scrutiny. Now, with Keith and Tom occupying two ends of this emotional spectrum, all eyes inevitably turn to one person, Nicole Kidman. The question everyone is waiting to answer: what will she say? And how will she navigate the storm that's building around her? Through it all, Nicole Kidman has remained the picture of composure. Every public appearance, every smile, every carefully chosen word has been measured, deliberate, and controlled. She speaks when necessary, but never over-explains, never confirms, never denies. And that silence? It has done more to fuel speculation than any statement ever could. Fans, journalists, and social media commentators have dissected her pauses, her gestures, her absence from certain events, interpreting meaning where there may be none, and turning restraint into a storyline of its own. Insiders close to Nicole reveal that she's walking a tightrope. On one side lies professional loyalty, keeping connections and collaborations intact in an industry that thrives on networking and reputation. On the other, there's the unspoken boundary of personal life, protecting her marriage, protecting Keith, and preserving her own privacy. Each step, each choice, sends a signal, and every signal is scrutinized. The media has reframed the narrative from scandal to endurance. This is no longer a story about a fleeting gossip moment. It's about a woman navigating fame, history, and trust with extraordinary care. Every word unsaid, every action withheld becomes part of the story, shaping perception in ways that even public statements often cannot. But make no mistake, the damage is already done. The rehearsal wasn't just a random mishap. It was a magnifying glass, revealing the subtle tensions, the unspoken frustrations, and the private complexities of a marriage lived partially in the public eye. Every word, every overheard sentence became a reflection of pressure, history, and human emotion. In Hollywood, history has a way of catching up. When fame collides with past connections, even the smallest moments can ignite the kind of attention that feels explosive, uncontrollable, and unavoidable. A whispered conversation, a fleeting glance, or a cryptic text can ripple into headlines, rumors, and social media debates in minutes. Now, choices matter more than ever. Keith Urban faces a crossroads. Confront the situation publicly and risk magnifying it, or retreat privately and navigate the emotional fallout behind closed doors. Nicole Kidman, in turn, must decide whether to clarify her side of the story, to reveal her hand, or to preserve silence, letting speculation fill the gaps. And Tom Cruise? He remains the quiet figure at the center of the story, the ghost in the story. Does he stay distant, allowing the narrative to swirl around him, or step forward and shape it himself? Whatever paths they choose, one truth stands unshakable. The past never truly stays silent. It whispers, it echoes, and sometimes it roars, reminding everyone that in the world of fame, history is never just history. So, what do you think? Was Keith Urban justified in feeling betrayed? Or is this just the inevitable cost of loving someone with a legendary past? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Your perspective could even be featured in the next update. And if you want to be the first to know when new clips, reactions, or insider updates surface, make sure to hit subscribe and turn on notifications. This story isn't over yet, and you won't want to miss what happens next.